Okay, so I just wanted to wrap a couple of things up from our last demonstration, and I realized that one of the things that I had left in place in this original file were these pre-tags, and you definitely want to get rid of those. Otherwise, you're going to have a problem styling them. So let's just get rid of that for right now. And then I wanted to go over a little bit of stuff about styling real quick. So if you want to watch this, if you feel pretty confident about your styling abilities, then you can just skip right over this. But if you're interested, go ahead and watch it. So let's go ahead and save that. And what I'm going to do to show you some styling options is instead of just creating a file here, I'm going to actually go ahead and I'm going to refresh this page. And I'm going to do this in Google Chrome, and I'm going to use the developer tools to kind of fuss around with stuff. So, and then whatever we decide that we like to keep, we'll use. So first thing I wanted to do is go ahead and separate these galleries. And we can do that by doing this. And let's go ahead and end this here. And then before we have this part, we'll add a new PHP tag. And now we've got something that's a little bit more usable. So I'll do a heading for this one that's it's H2 maybe, that's like animals gallery or something like that. And the next one could be something like whatever, I think it was fruit gallery. Okay, so let's go ahead and save that for now and see what that does. And it does separate them. Okay, so let's go ahead and just get some quick styles going here. So first I'm going to go ahead and right click this, and I'm going to inspect the element, because that's really what I want to kind of focus on is the actual list item element. So I'm going to scoot this over, and I'll give it enough room so that it can actually float properly. And you can see here that I've got my element selected. I'm going to select the list item, and I'm going to go ahead and click on this little where it says element style. I'm going to click on the add button, and instead of just regular list item, because who knows, there could be other kinds of lists in here, I'm going to go ahead and tell it to use the UL gallery. So I'll say ul.gallery space and then li for the list item that's inside of the UL with the gallery class on it. And then I'm going to go ahead and first of all I'm going to say float left. Let's just do that. Okay, so now everything is floating. Next thing I want to do is get rid of the bullets. So let's say list style, and then we'll say none. Okay, so that got rid of the bullets. And then perhaps next thing we would want to do is go ahead and give it a, let's see, maybe a margin of maybe, let's do like say 1% or something. Okay, and so we've got some basic stuff on the list item now. Now, one of the things that's bothering me is that the H2s are stacking in a weird way, and that's because they're not clearing the floats. So let's add another element here, and let's make it an H2, and let's say that it's going to have a clear left like that, so that it can actually separate like the way we want it to. All right, and then at least we've got the two galleries separate now. So something I want to show you too, like if you want to actually be able to write your styles without having to do this kind of stuff, you can also just click on where it says Inspector Style Sheet 1. This is these are the styles that you're sort of adding on, but they're not going to stay there permanently. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And one of the things that I want to do too is I want to go ahead and add another style that's going to be UL gallery list item, and specifically it's going to be for the images that are inside of the A tag. So I'll do A img, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a drop shadow around these guys. I'm just going to paste this so that I don't have to type the whole thing out. And right now it's got about a 3 pixel blur, and it's got about a 4% opacity, or no, I should say 40% opacity. And if you wanted to give them borders also, the other thing we could do too is we could have a border radius, since the lightbox that we're using has a border radius on its images, so we could say border radius, and let's do maybe 4 pixels or so and see how that looks. So it's starting to look a little bit cleaner, and then if we wanted, we could maybe see what it looks like with a border of maybe 1 pixel solid. And let's not make it that color, let's make it sort of like a, I don't know, CCC. That might not work. That doesn't look too good, I don't think. So maybe we could even try something that's darker, like 666. I don't know. It depends on what style you're going for. That might be too heavy, too dark, something like that. Let's even see what white, just plain white, looks like. That might be okay. And then you could also give these things like some padding or something. Padding. And it could be, I don't know, 1% or something. And then you start to see like a little bit of a border around it. Anyway, so you can see how you can start to like really stylize your galleries, and then as you play around with this, what you can do is you can take this and you can copy it, and you could then make a new file, Dreamweaver. So let's go ahead and make a new file, CSS, and we'll copy, or excuse me, we'll paste those styles that we had so far. We'll save that, and let's save it in the CSS folder, and we'll save it as styles.css. And then back in our index page, we can just go ahead. I'm just going to copy this link reference, and I'll create a link to that page that I just made, which was styles.css. And then now whenever I come back here, let's enclose this, and I hit refresh, and actually you can see that it's keeping those styles. Okay? So, and then you could just keep on going with this. There's so much more you could do. I just want you to see, you know, I guess the evolution from, you know, starting out with those bulleted, ugly list pictures to getting somewhere in this range. And lastly, I want to show you something else too. One of the things that I did was right here, I ended up putting H2s there. Well, dynamically, you would want to be able to have this automatically name itself in theory, right? Okay, so and you see that it's H2 here. One of the things that we can do, if you jump back over here to functions, is if you look at where the UL gets created, well, one of the things that you could also do if you really wanted to is you could come here and you could add an echo. You could do H2 or something. It doesn't have to be H2, but it could be whatever your page wants to have. If you don't have to include this, but you can. And this is where, if you want to do it in single quotes, you could do it this way. If you want to do it in double quotes, you can actually include a variable name. And then here's where you would put that image folder name. That's the variable that we're passing in. And again, remember, inside of double quotes, you want to put your thing in curly braces, your variable in curly braces. And right now this is going to be all lowercase, so you could also pass that through UC words if you wanted to, in which case we would have to concatenate. So let's get rid of the curly braces, and let's go ahead and do this side as well. So, and then you could say UC words like this. Okay. And then if you have an underscore, you would also need to go through the process of stripping it, kind of like what we did down here where you do a string replacement. In fact, if you wanted to just actually use this whole thing, you could. And you're just going to change where it says alt. So you would say, here you would say image folder, like that. Here, let me open this up a bit. If it will. There we go. And then, so basically we're announcing some h2 tags, concatenating it, and we're going to uppercase and string replace on image folder name, okay, and then concatenate it back and end the h2. And if you wanted to, before the end of the h2, you could put space gallery like that or something. So let's hit save on that function, and let's just get rid of our h2 here and our h2 here, and let's see what happens. Save this, and let's do a refresh on our page, and oops, it's giving us a problem here. Let's see what I did wrong. Well, let's read the error. It says it's an undefined variable image folder. I'm betting that I didn't actually type the word image out. I bet it was img. Let's see if that's the case. It's right here, and so here I put image, but right here, see, it's img. So that's my problem. So img, let's save that. Let's do a test on it, refresh, and you see it's got those h2s here, which is really nice because now it's being pulled dynamically. And if you did have an underscore in your folder structure for your gallery name, it would strip it and replace it with a space. There's so many more things that you could do inside of this function. This just gives you kind of a start. And if ever you decided that you wanted to style something differently, like let's say down here where I say ul class equals gallery, well, if you wanted this to be a special style, because maybe you don't want all your galleries that you call everywhere to look identical, again, you could create a new parameter here, and you could just add a parameter at the end. So like you could call it style or something like that if you wanted to. Let's just show you an example. And then here we would have to stop it, and oops, we'd have to concatenate. So let's just do that, and then we would announce style here. Okay, and that means that now we actually have to go ahead and we have to pass a second parameter. So we can go ahead and pass our parameter of gallery, because right now for gallery that's the only style that we have. But let's say that here we don't pass anything as the parameter. I mean, we have to put something as a second parameter, but it can be an empty value. If I save that, you can see what happens. Hit refresh, and then this loses all of its styling while this one keeps it. And so if you wanted to create some other kind of name here for the style, you could call it like black. I don't know. I'm just making this up. And then let's go here, let's hit refresh, and then if you inspect the element, you'll see that in the style for this unordered list, the class is equal to black, whereas this gallery is equal to the class of gallery. So if you were to go and create a style for black, you could. In fact, let's just do that really quickly. And we're going to say ul dot black list item, and let's just do something outrageous so that you can see the difference. Let's say that the margin, actually let's do it so that the pictures are being affected. So img, and let's say that they have a padding of like 10%, something really big, and a background color of black, something that's just really obvious. Let's save that, and let's close this up. Let's hit refresh, and you can see that now we've got a totally different style of gallery here. And so you could do that where you're passing in different parameters just by creating a second parameter here, and then applying it down inside of your actual script right here where you're calling out the class for the unordered list. Okay, so that's going to wrap this up, and then hopefully you can see how you could use this and just continue to customize your functions.